Hello, what have we here?
You're wrong.
Damn!
What the hell was that?
Game over, man. Game over.
You're wrong.
You finished?
Well, I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to this crazy little thing that we call the Week in Geek for this week, May 28th in the year of our Lord 2025, our midweek dose of geekery for you, the people. This is where we go through all the various detritus and debris and random bits of geekery from the interwebs, wrangle it all together into the free-range Idiocy corral, and then proceed to fillet and grill it all up for you, one topic at a time. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the lead editor and chief bottle washer of the Week in Geek. I give you the man they call Tim.
Well, I met this lady and I told her quite a story. Said I'd love her forevermore. But the problem is I tell the same old story to every girl who walks through the door. This is the slickster talking at you, honey. Yeah. Well, first they love me, and then they don't. Sometimes they will, and sometimes they won't. So I said to this girl, hey, you, get out, and she got to her feet and began to shout, you're a jive soul bro, and you're always lying to your friends. You're a jive soul bro, and you never get nothing in the end. Greetings and salutations, my friend. How are you? I know I've done it before, but I haven't done it with the little walk and twist to it, so I figured I'd break that one out again for you.
That was lovely, sir.
All right. I just love the yeah part.
It's almost like what is it, Tamatonga?
Yeah. That's right.
But it's not the meth version. So yes.
No, it is not. How are you, sir? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, it is Sunday. It is started out rainy and gloomy, turned into a beautiful sunny day. I got a 12-mile bike ride in this morning.
Oh,
the missus and I went out for breakfast at a nice little French brunch place. I don't know what.
None of this in the pre-production meeting. I feel like a total schmuck for like my weekend now. You're like riding through the countryside with your beloved, going and having French pastries and crap.
No,
and here I am. I'm like, yeah, I had Rice Krispies for breakfast.
I had a slice of quiche. It was had bacon Swiss and onion in it, and a couple slices of applewood smoked bacon on the side. Had a little bit of little decaf latte. Went over to Starbucks, got my standard, which my standard iced chai latte venti, and we're off to the races for the day. And got the bike ride in, did some grilled up some New York strip tonight, some zucchini.
What, they were out of filet mignon for your Royal Highness, sir?
No, it was prime choice, prime cut.
Of course it was.
It was phenomenal.
Jeez.
It was phenomenal. So just
rich,
I told you this was going to
richer.
be the Meat Memorial Day weekend, and here we are. How are you, sir? And how has your Memorial Day weekend been?
I'm a complete putz compared to what you've been doing. I cleaned the bathroom yesterday and did laundry.
Hey, that's something to that's good.
Yeah.
You're doing the Lord's work there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Come on.
Anyways.
Come on.
Yes. All right. Well, this is your show, sir, here. So why don't you lead us on through?
I am realizing I need to just reset my windows here real quick because
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll do my segment of your show, and
Okay.
that way we can buy you some time.
Thank you.
My little nod here for greetings from wherever you are. Out of the top 5, of course, the United States is usually in first place. It'd be kind of odd if it wasn't, considering that we're from there and English speaking and talking about a lot of stuff that people in the U.S. is more U.S. centric. But anyways, we do have listeners in other part of the world, so I want to say good day to Australia, hallo to the Netherlands, witam to Poland, and konnichiwa to Japan. So those are our fill out our top 5 countries who are listening to us. So
Very nice.
We are huge in Japan, apparently.
Very nice.
I don't know why. They're probably looking at us like, oh my gosh, the Americans are so far behind in everything, including intelligence. Like we're not representative. We're not representative. We're not trying to.
We are not. We are not.
And I think really Poland is just because of my last name. I think there's that's someone mistakenly is downloading us every single week.
Someone from the Netherlands.
They're just high. Anyways.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, we're going to jump into, now that I have my windows in order here, because it's very hard to do the intro that I do when I can't see Uncle Todd's face. Actually, it's probably better because normally his reaction gets me cracking up, and then I kind of break character. But nonetheless, now my windows are in order. My papers are in order.
You got your arrangements?
My bona fides are in order. I have my arrangements. Here we go. So starting off, last night we had live from the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida, Saturday night's main events. There it is on, and look at him with timely with the music. Live on NBC. Indeed. We got some Jesse the Body as well, which Jesse never seems to fail to entertain us in one way or another.
He really is old man yelling at clouds now.
Oh my gosh.
He
just walked out of the cage. It's like, oh God, Jesse. I can just see Triple H back there just like, cut his mic.
No, the worst was when he referred to the cage as fence.
Oh.
A good 2 or 3 times. You know that just.
Oh my God.
You know, Paul is just back there, just like, oh my God. Adam Pearce is there handing him cigarettes, like, here, try this. It makes it better.
Oh my gosh. Goes over. You know, McAfee, we used to hang from the blue monkey bars. That was the steel cage back in my day.
There are times when he's entertaining, but most of the time now it's like
it's just you're just waiting to cringe, you know?
It's like most of the time McAfee and Cole are spending a lot of time either correcting or covering for Jesse, and Jesse has no clue. He thinks he's having a great night.
I know you're not a fan of McAfee, but I got to tell you, the way he was handling Ventura last night was very professional and very well done, because
that's what I mean. Like
he just, well, no, I'm just saying, because McAfee sometimes comes off as a chucklehead, and
but on these shows he's actually, this is the time when he does shine. Like he is actually he handles the covering, and Michael Cole usually handles the correction. Yeah. So McAfee kind of plays along with Grandpa, and then Cole makes sure that nobody slips on it when his diaper leaks. So they make a nice team in making sure that Wrestling Grandpa doesn't get too far off of the reservation. So I give him credit for that.
And I got to give the WWE brass credit for keeping Jesse to one match. I love how they give him one match to really understand, know, and kind of talk to. Mm-hmm. I think if it was any more than that, we'd have problems.
Oh, yeah.
We already have problems with one match right now, let alone give him one more. Holy moly.
He's very close to wearing out his welcome, just being in between some of the, doing the intro and outro, or the intros off of the commercials and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And the one match, like, oh my, and somebody's got to give him a new coat. Like he's got the same fringe coat every time. He's changing the hat. This time he had the leather Malcolm X hat from like, I was like, somebody dove deep into their closet.
Yes.
Like that's like, hello 1993. Good to see you again.
Oh my gosh.
Like somewhere Wesley Snipes is like, I think he stole that from me at the premiere. I've been looking for that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he was interesting, to say the least. We'll get to some of his call. But I was trying to think of one line in particular. I love how he was going after McAfee for. He was like, I was the first athlete and announcer to go into the ring, wrestle a match, and then leave the ring and return back to do my announcing duties. And then McAfee over here is trying to take my thunder. It's just like, Jesse, shut the hell up.
It's like, somebody get him some
and
pudding.
He says all this, and then he's like, and by the way, McAfee, you have my respect for getting in the ring. It's like, oh, so after all that, it's just like...
And I love
Jesse,
how
you're killing me.
I love how they continue to refer to him as governor. I'm like, it's not the title of president. Like, you don't just have that now forever. Like, he's not the governor anymore. We don't call him Governor Ventura anymore. Like, it's okay, fine, whatever.
Maybe they're like, hey, he's 70 going on 80 here. Can't call him the body anymore.
How old is Jesse Ventura?
I need to look that one up.
I'll look it up. I got it right now.
All right. Well, I'm going to start diving in as you go here. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's 73.
Okay, so I was close.
But you said like 70 going on 80. Like, I'm looking at him like 73. I'm like, that's some rental car miles right there.
Yeah.
That's some rough mileage. But hey, you know what? Good for him. Like, still being out there and doing it. Like I said, there's times when I was getting a chuckle, and other times where I'm like, please, somebody get him some bread pudding or something. Just
cut his feed. All right. Well, we got the usual, just great sports intro that WWE has been known to do as they hype up their matches and start to kick off the event. Love the the tracking camera down the hallway shots that they did with some of the superstars. Just gives it a real kind of big time fight feel. So, Jesse Ventura and Joe Tessitore, who I call him Joe Tessitore, but it's Joe Tessitore, I guess.
I always think it's Joe Tessitore as well.
That's how I heard it last night. I could be wrong.
I was just about to correct you, and then I realized, like, oh, you're right.
Yeah. So he and Jesse talk a little bit about the steel cage match. Jesse comes off as somewhat coherent in this segment, which was pretty good.
It was early.
And then we get right into it. We get Seth Franklin Rollins and Braun Breaker, the master of math, coming down the aisle to kick things off. And I do like, one of my overall comments is I do like the match ordering. This was great. Zayn comes in, crowd pops big for him. And then, of course, they leave Punk for last, and the place goes absolutely ballistic. It was incredible. Absolutely. You couldn't even hear the music. I mean, they were so loud.
One question, because I just noticed this, and it caught my interest enough that I did a little Googling while I was watching. Did you realize they were counting Punk's AEW championships when they said he was a 5-time world champion? Because he's only won the WWE championship twice.
I did not.
So they must be
are they counting ECW?
Did he win the ECW championship? Because
when they had ECW as a kind of third league, he won it once or twice, but that would only be 4.
Hey Siri, how many times has CM Punk won the ECW championship?
Oh,
once. So
okay,
that's 3, and then he won the AEW championship twice. So I think they're counting those as world championships. Because I was like, that's kind of an interesting take. Like,
that is an interesting take, yeah.
And it stands out because, I mean, if you followed Punk's career at all, it's like, wait a second, he hasn't won the WWE championship 5 times. Like, he barely won it twice, and that was begrudgingly.
He won the World Heavyweight Championship on 2 different occasions.
Yeah, but I'm like, but
then he won the WWE Championship.
Nope.
No, he did. That's when he did the 482-day reign, was with the WWE Championship, not the World Heavyweight. It wasn't with the Flair belt. It was with the.
Well, no, because has he won that one though?
He's won when they were using the Flair belt, right, for the World Heavyweight Championship. He won that twice, I think, with Money in the Bank. He then, I forget how he won it. Might have been he beat John Cena for the WWE Championship. That was the one that had the W with the spinner. It was the spinner belt.
Okay, you're right. Okay, so 3-time WWE World Heavyweight Championship, 2-time WWE Champion, 1-time ECW Champion. Okay, so he would have.
So that may be where the 5 come from.
Yeah, so he is. That doesn't make any sense. So 3 and 2, and then 1. Oh, okay. So if you take that, he's actually a 9-time world championship, world champion, because he's got 3 World Heavyweight Championships, 2 WWE Championships, 1-time ECW Champion, 1-time Ring of Honor World Champion, 2-time AEW World Champion.
Yep.
Okay. I was confused, to say the least.
I didn't know
thought,
we were going to go off on this tangent, by the way.
Well, no, it just caught my ear because I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so that makes more sense. I forgot about the split in the championships there for a minute. Okay, proceed, sir. I didn't mean to take us down that.
Baba,
off-ramp.
proceed. So, great hot start with Punk Zayn coming out firing. We had fists being thrown. We had just bedlam in the ring. It was phenomenal. I noticed too, Punk kept his tank top on for the first part of the match, which I thought was kind of strange. I'm like, geez, did he let himself go a little bit? Is he trying to hide a little pouchy pouch or something? Not that I'm one to judge. I mean, I have the pouch and then some. So, but no, he eventually shed the tank top at a certain point. Not sure why that happened. Braun Breaker with a crazy elbow from the side of the ring all the way to the announce table onto Zayn. That was to the tune where Breaker's the one that ends up under the table and Zayn's trying to figure out how to lay himself, being the receiver of it, which I thought was great.
That was kind of was it an elbow or was it just like I thought it was a splash.
It was an elbow, and then when you look on his, I forget if it was left or right side. I thought it was his right side. He had almost like a what do you call it? Not
a bruise.
I keep wanting to say ablation. It's not ablation, but it sounds like ablation.
Abrasion.
Abrasion. He had an abrasion on his skin from when he landed on the table. So,
gosh, think about what that must feel like to catch the corner of that thing.
Yeah, right in your rib. Boom! There it is.
Willie's just thinking about it.
What else did I note? Punk with a nice code red on Rollins to try to put him. He and Rollins they have great chemistry in the ring together. They just can go back and forth and have just phenomenal action and matches together. Sammy with a great moonsault to the outside on Breaker. That was
springboard moonsault.
Oh, sorry.
Important because that is a sick maneuver where he's standing on the apron.
Yep.
Essentially goes to jump back inside the ring, springboards off the top, and does a moonsault flip to the outside.
Yep.
I'm like, for someone who looks like Sami Zayn. Now, I mean, granted, if I could look like Sami Zayn with my shirt off, I'd probably be happy. But
yes,
Sammy does not look like a gymnast. Okay. He does not look like one of these dudes who you think is going to be bouncing around. That dude is he's sneaky athletic.
Yeah.
He is that sneaky sort of oh my gosh, how the hell did he do that?
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that was so impressive when he did that, man.
He did. Yeah, no, it was really cool. And then what I really appreciated at the end though, when it seemed like Sammy was going to nail the haluva kick, out of nowhere we get big Bronson Reed.
Oh, but wait, before we get that though.
Okay.
When Sammy was going to do the haluva kick in the corner, Paul Heyman, waddling with purpose.
Oh, yes.
Does the old school heel manager tactic of grabbing the leg.
Grab the leg, yep.
Which I love because as he was moving, and he did, it was this waddle with purpose. And I'm like, oh, Paul's going to do something here. He's going to pull it. He's going to pull an old school heat trick here. And I love how this version of Paul Heyman is that he's now that heel manager.
Yes. Yeah.
He's kind of flipped back into that mode where he's just not the admiring sycophant manager. He is now I'm going to get involved and I'm going to do all the cheap stuff that people hate and all that. I love that. I just love the fact that now he's managing to put a little bit of a spin on this character.
Absolutely. But yeah, we get Bronson Reed trucking through and nailing CM Punk through the through the ringside barrier. And then from there, comes in the ring, and from there, Braun Breaker spears the bejesus out of Sami Zayn, gets a 3 count, and so Seth Franklin Rollins and Braun Breaker are successful over Charles Montgomery Punk and Sammy
Shmuley
Zayn. What was interesting was how they were going to explain, was Bronson, aligned with Rollins, because last time the two of them were had quite the feud going, and really had left that unresolved. But they seemed to squash that with it seeming like Rollins has smoothed things over with Mr. Reed, and now he is back. Bronson Reed, by the way. He's got to be one of the only human beings I've seen that looks like he's ready to burst out of his skin. You know what I mean? It's just his skin can't stretch anymore. He just, I don't try not to.
He's actually lost a little weight from last time we saw him.
I know, but still, when you look at him, he's just
but he's one of those dudes who's he's about as wide as he is tall. He is almost a square.
Yeah.
That's what kind of makes him so scary. Like I don't care if that's a work or not. Like getting like knocked through the barricade and Bronson lands on top of you.
Mm-hmm.
No thanks.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll go work at McDonald's. Thanks. I don't care about the
No.
paycheck.
I love Punk, by the way. After they've made it known that Reed is an ally and that sort of thing, all of a sudden you see Punk come in from out of nowhere, grabbing Heyman's leg,
Yes,
and just trying to get at him, and then Reed lays him out and then gives him a tsunami to boot. So that was
Yeah.
Punk and Zayn have to go back to the drawing board here, because now Rollins has two men backing him up, and they are both wrecking machines. So
I gotta say the one complaint I have out of this opening match, WWE, Paul, listen to me here, Booby, you've got to find someone who is going to do like a sponsorship to go commercial free for matches like this, because I'm sure this match was fantastic for the people in the venue. It sucked to watch on TV.
yeah,
Watching it live absolutely sucked, because I think it was a commercial every 6 minutes. Like we hit at least two commercial breaks in this match.
Yep.
And it just ruined the flow of the match. And it felt like this is the match that everyone wanted to see. So if you're going to do this, either the main event or whatever match it is, you've like get a sponsor who's going to like do something like that. But I mean, forget
get someone other than Dude Wipes.
Well,
which I'm just like, good God, is that the best they could do?
Their money's as green as anybody else's. I mean, you might want to sanitize it afterwards, but it's green. Run it through the washer or something. But like, even if you like, I appreciate the old school feel, but if you got to have the video boards under the LED boards around the ring, so you can throw up, the sponsorship, the logo, and all that while the match is going on, fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather have that, and everything else you can still do retro and all that. Just don't spoil the flow of a match like this, because I feel like this was the match of the night, and it was the one that I think everybody was anticipating the most.
Yeah.
And it was just spoiled by getting broken up into 3 segments. It really sucked. That was my one complaint from it. Otherwise, I thought they did great storytelling. I think for what the breaks that they had to put in there, I think the guys in the ring did the right thing. I would actually like to see. I am interested to see, like, okay, now who's the third person who's going to get added to the Sammy, CM Punk thing. So, I mean, they've got my interest. So, hey, mission accomplished.
All right, moving along to the next match for the Women's United States Championship. We have the reigning, defending champion, Zelina Vega, defending against Chelsea Green. Gotta love the secret Hervis that is following along. I just want to say, though, it is kind of crazy to see Isla Dawn, who was she was one half of that tag team from the PLE. I think it was like middle of the year last year in Scotland.
Yes.
Who won the tag belts. It was actually a really great match from Belair.
They only won it because they were in Scotland. Right?
Yeah, basically. It's little sad to see where she's fallen to, because now she and Piper Niven are basic. Well, sorry. They are part of a hot act, but it's just kind of interesting to see, her role now, and Piper as well, so.
Well, go ahead and ask some of the other ladies who have like 0 TV time.
Well,
I mean, I'm just saying, at least they're on TV and they're involved. I mean,
Fair enough.
Ugh.
But no, great start to the match. Vega laying into Green. Nasty power bomb by Green on Vega on the outside of the ring. But man, did you see Vega grab her head, and she was prepped. She was ready to go down. So it was just like, but still, nonetheless, going down on the outside like that, I just am like, oh my God, your head. I mean, I know there's a mat there, but still, that's like concrete underneath.
Oh yeah, if you don't like get your head tucked up to your chest, like you're in trouble, because your head's going to snap back no matter what you do. Like your muscles are just not that strong to avoid that impact.
Yeah,
you crack your head on that. That's bad business, man.
Felt like it was a standard match with the heel controlling much of the action and the face fighting from behind. Nasty backstabber by Vega, but that led into a very ugly 619. Her when she goes to
She did not rotate.
When she goes to execute it, her right leg is clearing, her left leg does not, and she ends up getting caught trying to rotate and do the kick, and so it comes off looking very awkward and odd.
Yeah.
And so from there she
now I wonder, is that where Chelsea's nose got messed up?
I think so. I think that's what I think that's where she may have gotten. Yeah, like I don't know if her nose was broken, but yeah, her nose was pretty bloodied afterwards.
Yeah,
and
I didn't see because as soon as like she went into the pin, I saw it then, especially in the replay. But then I'm like, that wouldn't have happened with a previous move.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was the case because that's now that
because the code red wouldn't have caused the bloody nose because the only move after that was Vega goes to the top. Green meets her up there, and then Vega gets her set up for the code red, which I was a little concerned she was going to not hit, but she hit it. So, and she gets the 3 count, defends her championship, and Chelsea Green has to go back to the drawing board with her secret Hervis.
I mean, it was a fun match, but it was kind of that botch kind of took a little bit out of it.
It was a good breather in between the first match and what will be the third match. But before we get the third match, we have a couple of sightings of legends in the crowd. We have Jimmy Hart, who, by the way, had the megaphone, and
no Hulk Hogan. Which means he actually got cheered tonight.
And I would have loved to have heard him say a few words in the megaphone, but then hit the switch and get the siren going, baby. Get the siren going. I mean, again, the visage of Jimmy Hart back in the 1980s running around the ring with that siren going off as
weighing
a kid,
approximately 95 pounds.
It absolutely cracked me up. I thought that was the funniest damn thing, just to see this little guy running around the ring with a siren and his megaphone. He's just constantly shouting at it. It's like, oh my gosh.
Do you think Jimmy Hart has even bothers with Just for Men anymore, or is he just using black shoe polish?
I think it's black shoe polish. But dude, the guy doesn't look like he ages though. Like I don't think he looks that old.
Yeah, he's kind of caught in that mid area. So I mean, like you see people from like the 70s, and you're like, oh my gosh, that person must have been 50, and it turns out they're like 28, and you're like, oh my. Leaded gas and like constant non-filtered cigarette smoke it really did not do wonders for people's aging. And I think he was kind of like, he managed to be in that part where like we saw him and then he just kind of aged to that point, and he's one of those people who's like a golden retriever. Like that's it. Like he hit that point, and that's it. That's who he's going to be for the rest until time immemorial.
Yeah.
You know. Oh my God. It was good to see Jimmy though, because I mean it sounds like from the stories I've heard, like he is just a genuinely nice guy. There was one story I got, where was it? It might have been I don't think it was Instagram. Crap, I can't remember where it was now. But apparently like he was doing like an independent show or a card signing or some sort of thing, and like the guy calls him, and Jimmy Hart picks up the phone. He's like, "Hey there, baby. Yeah, sorry, I'm just had to jump out of the shower to get your call." And he's like, "Jimmy, like you could have just let the phone ring." He's like, "Baby, in this business, you don't miss a call." And I did a very poor Jimmy Hart impression, but I could just hear his voice saying it.
Yep.
But it just seems like he's kind of a nice guy, and which it makes it nice that he got to not get booed because he was accompanying Hulk Hogan. So it was nice for him to get a couple cheers. That was the worst thing. Like when Hulk Hogan came out, and you just see Jimmy Hart, and you're like, Jimmy, they're not booing you. Please, no, they're not booing you. Yeah. They still love you. It's the other guy. It's the other guy.
It's like, boo. We're sorry, Jimmy. Boo.
Can't we do that? Like they do the, let's go Cena sucks thing. Can't we do that? Boo. We're sorry, Jimmy. Boo.
Well, and standing next to Jimmy Hart was Bushwhacker Luke, who apparently is still with us and still crazy as ever because he's doing the, oh, yeah. And then he goes to grab Jimmy Hart and go to lick his face, and Jimmy wants none of that. And, oh, my God.
He was probably trying to tell him, don't get the hair. Don't get the hair. That shoe polish is toxic.
Yeah, no kid. Yeah, exactly. You're going to be dead tomorrow if you lick that. And then I liked how they started to highlight, since WWE announced purchasing AAA in Mexico, they're going to have WWE when Worlds Collide. That is coming up. I think it's the same weekend as Money in the Bank.
I think so, yeah, because I think it's on the Saturday.
I think it's the same day, actually, as Money in the Bank. It's going to be in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah, because the pay-per-view's on a Saturday.
Right, yeah, so it's going to be in the afternoon, and then Money in the Bank will be in the evening. I don't think I can catch both of those. But we did get a nice feature on El Hijo del Vikingo, or as they're calling him, Vikingo.
Now, are they going to do the six-sided ring like they're showing in all their promo? Like, is that their thing?
I don't know. That's a great question.
It'd be kind of interesting.
It would. But yeah, seeing Vikingo there was cool. I did want to mention Uncle Todd. I saw the card for this When Worlds Collide. There is apparently another wrestler who is named similarly. His name is El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. As soon as I read that name, I thought of you and what your face will look like when you hear it.
Are you sure that's not a typo?
All right, I'm going to look it up right now. No.
Did somebody screw up their HTML and just like...
All right, hold on.
Somebody forgot to put a quotation where it shouldn't be.
Wait, WD When Worlds Collide. Let's see.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Where is it? All right, 2025. Yeah,
I am intrigued about the whole six-sided ring thing. That could be kind of cool. No one's been doing that.
Legado. Okay, so Legado del Fantasma, which is from WWE SmackDown, Angel, Berto, and Santos Escobar, will fight in a 6-man tag match against Psycho Clown. Okay, this is from AAA. Okay. Pagano, and El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr.
You know what? He is now my favorite wrestler in AAA.
I mean, how can you not love that name?
Oh, I mean, I'm smitten already.
Oh, Chad Gable is going to fight Vikingo, so
yes.
he'll be fighting him, and then Ricky Saints. Let's see, Ricky Saints or Ethan Page will defend. Oh, it's a TBA singles match for the NXT North American Championship. Okay, I don't know if they've announced all the matches yet, but it's a pretty small card. But anywho, that was just kind of funny to me. All right, so now we get to our third match, which is so I had thought for some reason this was for the title. It wasn't. It was just R-Truth versus John Cena, which is weird.
It's depressing.
I had read a great,
but then again, it's not like they were going to have any titles change hands on this show.
Well, but I read a great idea from someone on Cage Side Seats. I think was saying it would be really cool if they were to let R-Truth win the title on this show, but then lose it back to Cena 2 weeks later at Money in the Bank, or 3 weeks later at Money in the Bank. Like, just give him this as a way to kind of disrupt what John's doing, but then John gets it back to become a 18-time champion, to continue to put him even further into that category of the GOAT.
Yeah.
But that is not what happened. But we did have hysterical. So John Cena comes out with his blah, entrance with, everything black and just says John Cena.
Oh, but wait, he was wearing old school Tampa Bay Buccaneers colors, the creamsicle uniform colors, which I was like, all right, fine, you got me, you son of a bitch. I love that. I want one of those T-shirts.
Giving a little fan service.
I used to love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers creamsicle uniform.
You did. I remember that.
Oh my gosh.
I remember that.
One of the, to me, like, everybody hated those. I loved them. Of course, I wasn't who was it? It was Steve Young. Back in the day, I think they were playing, it was either the Bears or the Buccaneers outdoors in a snowstorm, and Tampa Bay, at that time, their road jerseys were white. Their pants were white. Their helmet is white.
Oh, interesting.
And he was playing in a blinding snowstorm, trying to throw to receivers who were essentially all white with orange numbers.
Oh, my goodness.
It's like...
Yep.
Who was the coach? Was it Rich McKay? Who once... he was the first head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back when they were terrible. I mean, more terrible than most expansion teams. And he asked about, hey, what do you think about your team's execution? And he said, I'm in favor of it.
Damn near spit my water out right there. That's some good stuff.
That two of my favorite coach quotes, and then there was one where Sam Weish, he of the Cincinnati Bengals, then he went to coach in Tampa Bay, and everyone realized, like, bad idea. Yeah. And he was prowling the sidelines talking to one of his assistants, and he's like, we got anyone fresh? I don't even care if they're good. We got anyone fresh. It's like, and that's the head coach just kind of acknowledging, like, I know we have nobody who's even halfway decent, but if they have some air in their lungs, let's send them out there to get the guys who we have out there who still suck. At least they suck less than that guy, but at least we need someone who can breathe.
Yeah.
Can we have that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so great call on the ring gear, John.
Yeah,
Just
definitely. And then you have R-Truth who comes out to John Cena's music, and he comes out with John Cena garb, but has pasted his name and his face over certain parts so that it's Ron Cena.
I so want. Then I saw the John Cena thing, and I'm like, I want that shirt. And then I saw Ron Cena, and I'm like, I want that shirt more. I need to have that. And you know what? If they have that on WWE Shop and we are recording long enough tonight, I might own one by next week.
There we go. You know, as always, our decision-making ability gets worse as the evening wears on.
Oh my gosh, they do have it.
Do they?
They do.
Oh God! Now I need to go look. So this is on WWE Shop. Okay.
Yes, it is. Men's red R-Truth Ron Cena T-shirt.
Oh my God! There it is. Good
okay, have
Lord.
control, Todd. Have control. Have control.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Hysterical.
And they have the orange. Yeah, the orange John Cena farewell. Oh my gosh. That could be a twofer.
Nice.
This is bad. Anyways, please go on before I make purchases.
All right. So R-Truth comes out in the Ron Cena garb. I thought that was hysterical.
And did the whole, he did the whole entrance. Like
he did the
ran
whole
down.
Cena entrance. He saluted. He ran to the ring. He did everything. And then Cena just starts attacking him. I have a note here. R-Truth is in damn fine shape for being north of 50. I mean, that guy is in shape.
Is he in his mid-50s?
He's in early to mid.
Let's see here. He's 53 years old.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
50. I couldn't have even run down to the ring.
I know.
At the speed he was.
No. Taking bumps. Go off the ropes.
The dude is ageless. Good for
Unreal.
him.
Just unreal. But yeah, Cena starts attacking him. Cena really dominates most of this match, but then Truth has the comeback spot where he goes literally right after John has done the sequence of moves. Truth goes and does the same 5 moves of doom on Cena, which is pretty damn hysterical.
And kind of almost like his 5-knuckle shuffle was actually better.
Indeed. And then he even throws on an STFU
Yes.
to try to get the submission.
That was not so good.
Now, well, you know.
I mean, not like John is a submission expert, but
Cena powders out. He grabs the belt, and then we have the dramatic moment where, like, Truth is looking at him like, "Are you really going to do it, John? Don't do it, John." And John's looking at them with this look of like, "I can't do this." And he hands the belt to the referee, but of course, as the referee's handing the belt away, he goes up and gives him a nut shot. It's like, well, R-Truth, it was fun, and 1 AA later, R-Truth is done. I wrote down that I felt like this was a wasted opportunity. I thought they could have done, like, I really like the idea of letting Truth get a moment. Like, how often are you going to have a story like this where he could win the world championship for, even if it's like, I don't want to compare it to Foley because Foley had a pretty good run with the belt, but it's kind of like Foley a little bit. Like, he gets the belt, but a couple weeks later, Cena gets the belt back. So there's no loss, you know?
Yeah, I love the idea.
But Truth at least gets that moment, for his career. Like, he can say he was a former world champion now.
Well, I mean, he was NWA world champion.
He was, yes.
And actually, I read this stat today. He was NWA world champion longer than Dusty Rhodes.
What?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So he's got that going for him, which is nice.
Well,
but no, I would have loved to seen that, and just the fact that the crowd popped for him. Way that they did, not just the entrance, but I mean, even when he was getting a comeback and all that, like, they were going nuts for him.
Now imagine if the title was on the line and he pinned Cena. Do you think about how off the wall everyone would have been?
Yeah, no, I agree. But again, like, it's also the type of thing where
killing me, Smalls.
We're fans. We want fan service, and ultimately, we are not the ones who are, having to write checks and justify stuff to a board of directors and all that stuff. So I get it. it
Yeah.
still kind of sucked. I agree. I think it was a missed opportunity for sure.
Didn't mean the show was bad or the match was bad. It was just a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I did like the double heel kind of move, like that. Okay, I won't use the belt, and
Yeah.
then here's one in the joy department. It's like, all right, okay, that works.
Yeah. All right. So after this match, we have a moment. Now I'm skipping over a bunch of commercials and other stuff in the middle there, but
Thank God.
we have Jey Uso bumping into Cena, and they have an interesting exchange where Cena's like, "Oh, so if Logan Paul beats you, that would be bad for wrestling. How very interesting. All right." And then he walks off, and Jay's like, "What the hell was that?" It's kind of like, good Lord.
It was awkward all the way around. I think
Yeah.
mostly because a lot of like interactions with Jey Uso are awkward. Just because I don't know that anyone necessarily knows how to play off his energy. You know, I've kind of come around like, okay, Jay is over. They're going to do stuff with him, all that. Like, I just feel like there's this, because he doesn't necessarily fit the same type of role as everybody else, it can be very difficult for others to interact with him. Like, as an example, and you'll probably understand this a little bit. As a bass player, playing with a drummer can be very much of a, like, you develop a relationship, like, and you get used to what they're doing, so that as they're going, you're like, I know exactly where they're heading with this, and kind of vice versa. But then there's times when you get thrown in with a drummer and you're like, I really don't know where you're going with this. Like, I'm having a hard time figuring out how to fit in with what you're doing, because you're kind of not doing what is normally expected for a song, and not even necessarily like building or crashing or whatever where you think, but even like the beat, you're like, I would never have thought that anyone would play this song with this type of beat. And I'm not really sure what I can do to fit in with this, you know? I feel like that's a little bit with Jey Uso. Like, he's just a different cat, and his energy is different, and there's some limitations there, but there's also a lot of charisma. I'll give him that. He has a natural charisma. But I think it's difficult for other folks to kind of figure out how to work with what they're getting.
Yeah.
So it makes that awkward, because the thing is, like, in that situation, John Cena is kind of the one who has to be awkward in kind of that heelish way, and Jay was also awkward. So at the end of the day, you're sort of like, the hell just happened? Like, I feel like what you just said, Jay, his look, I'm like, that's what I felt like, hey, that was weird. That was almost like that. Oh, so that was the final. That wasn't the rehearsal.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, at the same time, it was also just like, I get what they were doing, playing up on the whole, like, Cena's looking to destroy, ruin wrestling and that sort of thing.
I
And
like
so,
that idea. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it plays into the logic of what he's doing, where it's like, oh, okay, people don't want Logan Paul to win, so if I do this, then. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I thought the interaction was fine. I didn't have as much of a issue with it. It was just more, the look on Jay's face was just funny when he's just like, did he just really say what I think he said?
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, huh?
What you need is Booker T to come in at that moment and be like, you did not say I just...
You did not just say that. Or no, he said, tell me you did not just say that.
That would have been a little too much, but at the same time, I would have gotten a kick out of it. I would have been like, that was awesome.
We get another shot of a couple legends in the crowd. Leilani Kai, who I remember back from the mid-1980s, late 1980s, female wrestler.
Was she the one who wrestled barefoot for like ages or something like that?
I think so. Maybe. I don't remember.
Random bits of trivia. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, a little yawn there. And then we have Tatanka, who...
We've got another 4 hours to record here tonight, sir. You stop that yawning stuff.
Good Lord Almighty. I was on the bike for 12 miles, sir. 12 miles ride.
Uphill both ways, I know. Okay, thanks,
and I made dinner, too. And I cleaned up after dinner.
Oh, that's nice. You didn't make your vegetarian wife cook you slabs of murder meat. That's so nice of you.
No.
Even though she normally does. Even though she normally does cook up your murder tissue for you.
Moving right along. Jesse Ventura. All right, so
you're like Al Michaels to my John Madden. 3rd and 5.
That's right. Just moving right along. Just keep moving forward. So we get Jesse Ventura joining Cole and McAfee at the announce desk, and
everybody does one of these,
running his mouth about this, that, and the other. They go to start to introduce the match, and he's talking over the ring announcement. It's just like, good God, Jesse,
Lillian
stop
had
talking.
no idea that wrestling grandpa is just meandering through the tulips of his mind.
It's like, McAfee, back in my day, this is what I did. But
to see Lillian back, that's always a nice treat.
It was.
And the ageless Lillian, you want to talk about R-Truth?
Yes,
Lillian Garcia. I'm like, where's the fountain of youth that apparently these people have found?
I know.
It's aggravating. Yeah, because another one I saw today, I was just posting something to Instagram, our Instagram account before we hopped on here. Frickin' Trisha Helfer, another one who posting it to Instagram, and I'm like,
yep.
Apparently, there's this little elite club of people who are immortal, and we're just not in it.
Yeah, basically.
Fracking Highlanders. Anyways.
All right, so we're up to the steel cage match between Damian Priest and Drew
2nd and 8
McIntyre. As the match starts, both men are in the so Drew attacks Priest as he's kind of getting into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
They have a little bit of an exchange on the outside. He throws Priest back in, but McIntyre, in true in true War Games fashion, goes under the ring to grab plunder, to grab the furniture, to quote Uncle Corny, and throws a couple chairs into the ring to spice things up a little bit. And then he gets in there, and they go to shut the door, and the door doesn't quite shut all the way, but then the ref takes care of it. But here's the part I think is hysterical, is right as the match starts and McIntyre has things in hand, Jesse's like, I think McIntyre is a good-looking guy. It's just like, okay, thank you, Jesse, for that commentary.
We are literally one more Saturday night main event. Like, McAfee, I just pooped my pants. Get ready for it, folks.
I don't like the cut of Damian Priest's jib.
It's coming in Q3, ladies and gentlemen. Just book it right now. Vegas has taken it off the boards.
It's hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. Now, so after Jesse had, so again, this is the story with Jesse Ventura. We have this moment, and then almost right after it, Jesse makes a phenomenal point and says, back in the 1980s, NBC probably wouldn't have allowed this match because of the violence and the potential for blood.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there like, oh, sweet Moses, Jesse has a point.
Son of it, he's snapping the lucidity.
That's what the Saturday Night Main Event is going to start becoming for this show. We're going to take prop bets on what sort of ridiculous crap comes out of Jesse Ventura's mouth.
I don't know that we have enough time to go through that. That'd be several episodes. Just trying to diagnose it and be like the Zapruder film. We'd be rolling it back and forth, back and to the left.
No,
back and to the left.
Here's one real jabroni will do. Jesse Ventura will come at McAfee with yet another thing that he did better than McAfee back in his day.
That's off the board, sir. That is gonna happen. That's gonna happen. There's no doubt about it.
Real jabroni. Jesse Ventura declares the heel a good-looking individual. Actually, at some point during the event, Jesse Ventura takes issue with the ref's timing of the count.
That's his running gimmick now.
Oh my God!
Which I give him props for that. Like, we're now this is the third Saturday Night. Is we the third one of this year?
Of this year, I think it's the second one of this year.
Okay.
There was one back in
third
January.
overall.
Yeah, third overall.
Okay, yeah. So every single one, like he is committed to this gimmick.
Yeah.
Like, this is his thing.
Oh, he always has an issue with the ref's count and the timing, and oh my God, it's just like, good. How do you notice this stuff? God. Oh.
But
anyways,
it's the only thing getting through the steroid Alzheimer's that he's dealing with. That's the one thing that remains.
So we got good back and forth action with both guys throwing one another into the cage. At one point, Jesse breaks out the old classic Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, McPhee.
and he had to like interrupt him 3 times in order
Yes.
to get that out.
Yes, he did.
Oh my gosh, because he's speaking so slowly these days.
Oh my gosh. Love the Claymore by McIntyre and Priest for a near fall. Well, actually, the crazy part with that is, I don't know if I wrote this down. No, yeah. So I think when he did that Claymore, was it after he did some move where he threw Priest into the chair that was wedged in the turnbuckles, and then I thought he did a Claymore or he did some move to him, and he got a near fall, and I'm like, for crying out loud, if you hit the guy with a chair and your finisher and you can't put him away, what can you put him away with?
Some type of heavy ordnance called in from like an airquake, perhaps. I don't know.
We have a mushroom cloud here. Oh, good Lord.
And it's a 2 3/4. Son of a- He shoved a tactical nuclear weapon up his rectum and detonated it. It was only good for 2.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be AEW.
Oh my God.
That's the main event of the next AEW pay-per-view.
God.
The tactical nuke in the rectum match.
Yep. I like how McIntyre and Priest both use one another's kind of classic moves against each other. McIntyre did South of Heaven. I think Priest at one point kind of did his own version of a Claymore. Cole didn't really call it that, but it looked pretty damn close to it.
They followed up because I remember. So I was fast forwarding a little bit through this,
Okay.
And at one point, I think either Jesse or McAfee had mentioned like Priest having done a Claymore, and I was like, I think I missed that, but I'm not going back to find it.
Yeah. Action continues, and then Priest at one point takes a chair, basically puts it up to McIntyre's throat, jams a chair down on the ground with McIntyre's. That looked nasty.
It looked really, because to me it looked janky. Like it was such like a setup. Like it was obvious. Like McIntyre was grabbing the chair and setting it in a certain place. Which, hey, I don't fault him for that, because I don't want to mistakenly take the chair to the Adam's apple myself. Of course, I probably would have been like, do we really need to do this move? But it felt set up. And that's one of those things that I'm like, I would rather you just not do it. Like if it's that unsafe that it takes an obvious setup, just don't do it, dude. Like it's okay.
Yep.
Please. And maybe I'm not a true wrestling fan for this, but it's like, I'd rather you both guys go home safe tonight, than like rupture an Adam's apple for my amusement. I'm good. Like just punch kick a little bit more. It'll be all right.
But we get Priest then setting up McIntyre for a concerto, which he nails him with. And then from there, it was kind of interesting. Like both guys did this, like towards the end of the match when they both like kind of nailed what was close to a kill shot on one another. They're just kind of like walking around the ring. And I'm like, if this is a blood feud, why are you guys not on top of each other? Like if you just nailed your, this guy that you have this beef with, why are you standing there like pacing around in front of him? It's like, pick him up, do a move, put your finisher on him, like put him away. Like that's the part weird. Of the booking I don't quite understand, because it just feels strange.
Yeah.
But Priest does this. He kind of walks around. He walks toward the door and takes a moment, looks back, and he just kind of walks out. And then Ventura goes off, and goes off. He walked out the door. How do you not pin him? Why don't you go over actually, the funny part was Ventura, probably because of what the cage match was during his time, was all about him going over the top of the cage, not just pinning him in the ring, which is actually allowed in today's cage matches.
Now, also keep in mind, Jesse talked over all of the rules that were announced at the beginning of the match.
Well, fair enough.
Even though I'm sure he had notes that he did not read.
Yes.
But he talked over Lillian Garcia's complete explanation of this. So he was befuddled, baffled, bemused, and bamboozled at the end of this thing. He was, to quote Buford, he was as confused as a baby raccoon. And I would say a baby raccoon who had just swilled some moonshine.
Yes.
However, this was the one time in the night where I'm like, son of a bitch, I agree with Wrestling Grandpa. Like, yes, this was lame and anticlimactic.
It was an anticlimactic ending. It was very, for being this like going back to not WrestleMania. What was the event we just watched where?
We talked about
Backlash. We just watched Backlash, and there was a moment during that United States Championship match where Priest and McIntyre go out in the crowd, and I mean the physicality between the two of them has been really good. That's what's that's what has elevated this feud, and it just felt like the ending to this needed more than just one of them walking out of the cage. Like it needed something extra to it. And now I have read today that it sounds like McIntyre is going on an extended break to heal up. Apparently he's dealing with a lot of injuries. And so in the article, it said he's made comments like he can't fully turn his head to the left. Like right now he's that screwed up. Jeez. And so this was a way of writing him off TV for a period of time with the concerto, because the concerto typically is like kind of a death blow. Like when you get caught in that, you're laid up for a little bit.
Yeah, but even then they had him kind of like writhing around and trying to get out of the ring on it. Like it would have been better if they like literally stretchered him out.
Well, they did bring a stretch. Yeah.
But anyways,
no, you're absolutely right. They brought a stretcher out, but they just never used it. It was weird.
Okay. Yeah. So. It's just an odd, awkward ending to that.
It was very awkward, but yeah, just listen to Wrestling Grandpa go off on the catastrophe that was Priest walking out the door and not over the top was just you had to be there to hear it.
Well, but then realizing that I'm nodding along with it, I'm like, oh dear God, like I should probably be in the home next to Jesse, and which is terrible because I feel like I'm still compos mentis enough that I'm like I'm going to hear it all and understand it. This is torture. Is this against the Geneva Convention? Yeah, that was a very weird moment for me. I'm like, oh dear. Like what's happened now? What has happened?
Yeah. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Exactly.
All right. Well, our final match was for the This was for the championship, for the World Heavyweight Championship. But as I look at the clock, there was 10 minutes. It was 8:48 when the entrances started, and I'm like, okay, we have a problem here. No, sorry, it was 8:45. And I'm like, 15 minutes and Jey Uso's one of the entrances. How is the math working on? Did Braun Breaker clock this one out? Did he try to use fractions and forgot about how Jey Uso does like a 15-minute entrance? Well, thankfully, it didn't go that long. They had the mind and the wherewithal to not do that. But still, the match itself somehow they got through the entrances in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Now they did have Jey Uso
amazing
do cool thing where he has a kid and kind of doing the yeet thing.
Yeah.
Which is very. I mean, that is the charm of him, and that, to your point, is what makes him just different. Is he just has this visceral connection with the crowd.
Wait, did we mention main event Jey Uso was actually in the main event?
Hey!
For those of you keeping track at home, bingo. That's you now have an extra piece on the board.
There we have it. But they started the match with 10 minutes left, so I'm like, what the heck is this match going to be?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Because this is on NBC. It's not like they're on USA or, whatever other network they're on where they're allowed to run over, or Netflix for that matter, where they have some flexibility.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, this will be interesting. But no, they had a good back and forth. I thought, it was actually a pretty good match between the two of them.
Yeah, I was impressed.
Paul exposes a second turn. Oh, I'm sorry. I screwed this up. This was the match. Paul throws Uso into the exposed turnbuckle.
Yes.
And hits his fist and can't put him away. And I'm like,
well, but
he just hit him with two of the things that he's knocked everyone else out with.
But that was the thing. Like the way that Paul sold that afterwards, to me, it was actually a much better sell than like a lot of guys when they hit their finisher and someone kicks out. Like he literally was registering such shock.
Yeah.
Like I was actually very impressed by that moment as a sell for a heel for him. I thought that was great. And I mean, there's so much to be impressed with Paul. Like dude is uber athletic. He gets how to be a heel. Mm-hmm. To the point where I'm like, I understand how this goes, and I hate your ass.
Yeah.
Like, even though I understand all the tricks you're pulling on me, I'm allowing them to work because I'm just like, get him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's very impressive, and Jay was actually really good in this match too. Like, the only thing I had trouble with was at the very beginning, like those mincing little steps that he was doing before the lockup. There was something about that where I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Like, you're the champ. Like, a little more confidence, if you please. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I was actually, for the length of time that they had, I actually did not feel like we were gypped on this whatsoever. Like,
No.
it felt like it was an actual decent match for the time that they had.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, WWE are the masters of the frame shot that they do for pinfalls when you think the guy's got him, and then all of a sudden the guy gets yanked out of the ring. Like, they do such a great job of framing that shot because you're into the action, you're into what's going on. You don't realize that his legs are close to the side, to the ropes. And so basically Jay has Logan Paul in a pinning predicament. But his feet are close to the ropes. They shot it a certain way. You couldn't see past where the ropes were. And all of a sudden you see a hand come in and yank Uso out. And it was John Cena.
No. It yanked the ref out.
Oh, was it the ref he yanked out?
Yeah.
Or was it?
Oh, he pulled the ref out.
Okay.
And so that was the thing that was like, the only thing that gives that away is the crowd. But yeah, and I feel like that's something that has changed with, I know it kind of coincided with Triple H taking over, but they also changed producers. And I feel like that has, with a lot of the different camera angles and something like that, like they've done much better at that, at framing things so that it's not, you don't see someone run in, like it comes out of nowhere. And they've done that even with like specific moves where someone will like missile drop kick into the frame, which was never a thing before. It would be a wide shot, sort of thing. But no, that was, and that's a good call, because that is something that is kind of new, and they do so good at it. Oh my gosh, their production is so good these days. Yeah. Except for the one, I forget where it was. I think it might have been the Chelsea Green Vega match where the drone was in the shot. Like the drone was, so they were kind of a wider shot. Not the hard cam or something else, and the drone was in the shot. I'm like, oh my gosh, did the drone somehow and Chelsea Green was like, one of them was like yelling at one point, and I'm like, holy crap, is like the drone out of control and like actually like buzzing into the ring on this guy? Because the depth perception is messed up from the first shot. Yeah. With the exception of that, they're usually right on with this stuff.
Yes. So we have John Cena interfere. And he tries to set up Logan Paul to be the victor, but that is not to happen as Cody Rhodes comes down, cleans house, and if I'm remembering correctly, Jey Uso does land his splash. He does get the 3 count on Logan Paul, and Cody Rhodes officially comes back and calls an end to Cena ruining wrestling. He's in Rhodes country now, and apparently he and Jey Uso are going to team up against John Cena and Logan Paul at Money in the Bank. Book it.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm a huge fan of like the quick promo after a match to set up the angle to like book the match.
Yeah.
In this case, I'll allow it, because it feels kind of merited, and I felt like, even though it was a little unrealistic that, John Cena apparently like just is the person who writes everyone off TV for however long, because we haven't seen Randy Orton since he got beaten. We haven't seen Cody Rhodes since he got beaten by John Cena. It's like, what the hell? Like, it's not like he, knocked these guys.
I think in the case of Orton, it's just like they probably don't know what to do with him at this point.
Well, I think eventually we're kind of seeing maybe this coalition of the willing against John Cena, which again, I feel like, okay, that can work, but I felt like this was done well. It wasn't drawn out. It wasn't. It was like, okay, we're going to do this, and it's quick, boom, boom, 1, 2, and before you kind of realize, like, oh, this is kind of like, why? Like, you don't get a chance to think about it. You hear Cody's music. He runs down, he does this, and like, I was sucked right in. I'm like, holy crap, it's good to see Cody. Oh, this is awesome. I wasn't thinking like in terms of like business, So they did a good job with that, making it, bang, 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 and we're off the air. Yeah. It's like, all right, cool. Like, mission accomplished.
It was interesting when Cody grabbed the mic. I'm like, dude, it's like almost past 9 o'clock. Like, you're going to get cut. I mean, maybe on Peacock it kept going, but on like network TV, I mean, they're going to cut that off, I assume. So,
well, he was talking like over the credits, like because
he was okay.
Yeah. So I mean, the weird thing was on the Peacock rewatch, there was more time left because they did some sort of McIntyre promo afterwards for like.
I started. Yeah, I saw a little bit of that before I clicked it off. But yeah.
Yeah, because that was like 5 minutes worth. Because when they started, I'm like, oh, they got like 15 minutes left. Okay, this
Yeah.
isn't quite as bad as I thought. And then that hit, and all of a sudden we're like, I was the first guy from Scotland. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So that's the padding at the end of this.
From the time I was a wee lad.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, overall, I thought it was a good event. I mean, had some bumps in it, but I think so it just continued the trend of them putting on some quality matches, building up the product, and trying to sow a little bit of marketing in there for the casual fan to maybe pull them in to see a PLE in the which is coming up in the near future in Money in the Bank. So I liked it. Loved the use of the talent, loved the presentation of it all. Just wish that they could tighten up a few things here and there, but overall, good event.
Yeah, I think the one thing that the nit that I'm going to have to pick is that, and of course we're still early into the return of Saturday night's main event as a thing. It's like, okay, it's PLE light. Two things I think you need to figure out. One is, number one, just overall schedule, because it feels so rushed, like trying to get matches for this and then on to the next thing. Like if you're going to have these, you need to figure out a way to make this work within your schedule, and then also book in such a way that, like, and I think they did that with a couple of the matches here where it was a springboard to the next PLE. I feel like they're getting a little bit better at that. It still feels rushed though, although I don't know if there's a way to fix that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If anything, it might be nice to have like some in the TV leading up to that, using other talent and trying to save the talent that you have for the PLE light for that. The other thing is, you've got to have a championship change hands. You've got to have something happen on these so that you actually feel like something could have
been Cena R-Truth. It could have been Cena R-Truth.
It could have been Green Zelina Vega. Like, honestly, does that matter that much for Zelina Vega to keep the
I think
championship?
It does matter. I think it does matter because, R-Truth beating Cena against Green beating Vega. Which one is more memorable? Which one's going to make more news?
Oh, no, totally.
Nothing against the women. Nothing
No.
against the women. It's just for Cena to lose would be unexpected.
Totally. And I guess my point being, like, even having like the second tier women's belt change hands, at least it gives you something.
Yeah, fair enough.
It gives you something. And you could have that belt change again next week or 2 weeks from now. Like, I don't see that as a big, like, oh my gosh, we've got to rearrange the entire, way we view the galaxy. Like, okay, you tweak a few things, and honestly, I think it would help gin up that feud a little bit more, because the other part of this is, like, it was fantastic to see a ladies match on there, and aside from that, the botch on the 619, it was good. But I mean, this is a kind of a problem that we're dealing with the ladies division right now, is that there's not a lot of movement, there's not a lot of TV time, and honestly, there's not a lot of differentiation between the bulk of the talent. Like, it's really difficult to get a handle on anyone's personality because there's not enough TV time to go around for anybody anyways. Literally, I was
down to storytelling. The stories between some of these characters are non-existent.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. But I mean, it's also difficult because there is it comes down to story, really. But I think because you don't get a chance for a lot of these ladies to actually show some personality, it makes it really tough to care. You know what I mean? But anyways, so you've got to have something happen. Something has got to happen, because otherwise it's like, well, why am I going to watch? There's no championship that's going to change. Like, we went into this and I'm like, there's no way Logan Paul is winning the world championship. There's no, I was hoping that it was going to be Cena versus R-Truth for the championship. I'm like, but there's no way that championship is going to change hands. So, I would have loved to have seen it happen like that. I love your fantasy booking for this, but oh well.
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right. Well, we're going to shift away from wrestling for one.
Oh, you son of a bitch. You're going to push that down the
Damn right I am. We're over an hour. I'm sorry. I'm making an executive decision here, and we're moving on because we have other things going on tonight, and I would like to not be going to bed at midnight. So
say other fish to fry, but you have a thing against fish. You want red meat. So, okay, go ahead. What
From
else
our
you got?
friends at IndieWire.com, we have some news in the Marvel Universe. Disney pushes Avengers Doomsday to December 2026 and replaces it with The Devil Wears Prada 2. So,
Are you
apparently-
shatting me? Is that actually a thing?
It is a thing. Avengers Doomsday originally was going to release on May 1st of next year, 2026. The slot will now be filled by The Devil Wears Prada 2, as Avengers Doomsday will shift to December 18th of 2026. So we will actually go a majority of next year with no Marvel content other than Avengers Doomsday. So there's going to be a big gap between Fantastic Four and Avengers Doomsday.
Okay, so I mean, I get that. Like, it's a big movie. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of production, post-production, all that stuff. How the hell are you sequelizing The Devil Wears Prada? Like, that was pretty much a story. That was.
I don't know.
That's it.
I think money needed to be made. So.
I get money needs to be made, but good Lord, I'm utterly baffled what the story of that is going to be.
Hey, on the plus side, at least they won't be competing, and essentially cannibalizing the box office for Mando Grogu, which was supposed to come out around the same time as Avengers Doomsday.
I don't know how much you're. Oh wait,
So-
that is a movie. I forgot that's not a series. Okay,
Yes.
yeah, sure.
Seen, felt, smelt, and dealt. But yes. Also, because of this change, Avengers Secret Wars, which was going to release on May 7th of 2027, will now release on December 17th of 2027.
Screwing up all my arrangements.
Screwing up my arrangements, Tom. Can you get me off the hook?
Old time's sake.
For old time's sake. So yeah, we're gonna have a big gap between. So Fantastic Four First Steps is coming out this July, and it was going to be from that point to next May for the next Marvel content. Well, it's going to be an entire year and then some before we get
Yikes.
that. So yes, it is going to be a little bit more of a wait, but nonetheless, Avengers Doomsday. They're doing this in order to accommodate I don't know exactly what it is, but it's sorry, I didn't run this.
Some inside information on me.
I didn't run this through GPT, so I didn't get it extracted.
Go ahead and give away all your secrets. I don't care.
I think the Russos needed some more time, and they gave it to them. So that's all I can say. What more is there to say at this point? They want to do it right. The scope of this movie is so vast that they needed an extra 6 months.
Pulling stuff out of your ass right now, left and right. You better have some dude wipes.
Hey, left, right, and center.
Well, I mean,
All right. Any other thoughts on that, sir? Are you bummed? Are you bamboozled? Are you?
I mean, I'm bummed. Honestly, I mean, it doesn't surprise me they'd move it back. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a gigantic movie. You've got so many people involved in this. I'm sure that maybe it comes down to some scheduling and what they know they're going to need for post-production and yada, 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 yada. Fine. I get it. I am still just baffled by The Devil Wears Prada 2. Like literally,
That's the thing you're taking away from this article more than anything else is Devil Wears Prada 2.
Because I think we maybe it was a month and a half ago. We rewatched that as a fam, and again I was like, okay, a perfectly serviceable movie, and Glenn Close, of course, Glenn freaking Close. I mean, but now I'm like literally it has my writer mind going like, how the hell do you sequelize that? Like, what is the next story that isn't going to be like, oh, we're back in the fashion magazine? Like, I'm like, how does this work? Like,
Right,
my head is spinning.
This is not part of the Week in Geek
I
content.
know, but it has me I am flustered. I don't know what to do.
All right, let's move on to end another thing before we spend another 30 minutes on your musings about The Devil Wears Prada 2.
What? I feel like we should break this story right now. Like, we're going to do an impromptu real or jabroni right at this moment.
Okay, are we really? Oh God, you're putting it together.
I thought you just run it through GPT.
No, I did not. No, I do not.
All right, fine. What do you got for and another thing for our listeners / viewers this week?
My and another thing, because I am lazy and apparently have not been reading books or exposing myself to new things.
I hope you haven't been exposing yourself.
Well,
Thank goodness, sir.
I mean,
It's a family show.
Watching other movies or TV
Oh,
shows or things
okay.
to talk about.
Gotcha.
But right here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm
Oh,
going to
look at you.
shill.
Jeez.
I'm going to shill, if you will, to pay the bill. All right.
Oh, Taylor. Like, my gosh. Make this any more filthy lucre.
Blackened whiskey, ladies and gentlemen, blackened bourbon is a new, a blend of straight whiskeys finished in black brandy casks. Has a phenomenal flavor to it. It is very good. If you are into bourbon and whiskey, I would highly recommend it. And I picked this up as a pick at my local liquor store. And it is now a part of my collection, and I will be going back to it. So something I picked up last week, have very much enjoyed, and am enjoying tonight as we record the show. So that is going to be my and another thing. What is yours, sir?
It's just sad watching you whore yourself out.
You stop it. Just go.
I thought you'd been smart with your money, sir. I really did.
Hey, it's part of the portfolio. What can I say?
Didn't realize you were at the point where you're selling yourself on a street corner.
Oh, stop it.
As tawdry as this is.
Do your and another thing. Come on now.
My and another thing is I started watching this yesterday, the day before, I can't remember. But American Manhunt, Osama bin Laden on Netflix, which is kind of interesting. Again, you have to take this with a grain or three of salt. It really kind of is. There's I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I believe it's a 3-parter. So so far, ain't no one from the the W administration has shown up in this. It's all from kind of the CIA perspective. And they are none too pleased with some of it. Some of the actions of the W administration. So I assume there's a bit of a slant here. It's just interesting, though, to find out kind of the inner workings of how this whole thing went down. So, of course, a lot of the first part is, the story of 9/11 and all that. And then we kind of get into the hunt and missteps and things like that. And it's just very interesting to hear any of this, because even though I lived through this, we lived through this, and kind of a foundational event in our lives, there's still a lot that I'm realizing I didn't quite know and or understand at the time. And I'm guessing a lot of that is because, these aren't things that were being talked about at the time. But it also is kind of, there's a lot of perspective, like realizing like, oh my gosh, how many years was it that bin Laden was just kind of out there before getting caught, like after this happened, and realizing the steps that had to be taken and how that whole thing worked and what a manhunt like this would actually, entail. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting to get a little bit of that perspective. And like I said, I'm not taking this as 100% gospel, like the entirety of the truth, because like I said, there's no one so far that has been from the administration, non-CIA intelligence community side of this, who has kind of given their perspective. So take from that what you will, but it is an interesting watch if you're into the kind of the minutia of history, as I am. So check that out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes Week in Geek Wednesday. Thank you all for checking in and tuning in with us and listening. You can find us at freerangeidiocy.com, and you can subscribe there right to the Podbean app. You can also find us on all of the major podcast providers, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, whatever the hell Amazon calls their. I should find out what Amazon actually calls their podcast service. I'm sure it might have some cutesy name, but I'm not that interested. I'll Google our truth's age, but I will not Google this thing that could probably help us. says a lot about me and about our show. You can also find us on the Instagrams. We're on the Facebooks. We're on the YouTubes. All of those are at Free Range Idiocy. If you want full video, if you're up for the challenge of just watching us, we had discussed possibly just turning off the lights while we record this and just have like a kind of a shadowy visage for the video. We didn't end up doing that. But you can find full video on the YouTubes, on our YouTube channel, and also on... Would you stop shilling? My God. This isn't a friggin' commercial, sir. Have some pride. My God. Where was I? Oh, yeah, full video on YouTube and or Spotify. And what the hell else? Oh, yeah, if you have any questions for this chucklehead here, apparently you want him to sell something for you. He's willing to whore himself out for pennies. Not even a $2 whore. He's willing to give him a quarter. He'll show whatever.
Oh, my God.
And you send those to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give the man they call Tim the last word. He's probably going to try and sell you something. I don't know, Nectar mattress, perhaps, or.
I am not. I did kind of figure out maybe a nice way to close the show.
Oh, really?
And
All right, let's hear it.
I hope you appreciate it.
Okay.
Speaking for both of us here. This goes out to all our geeks out there. Week in Geek is your hookup. Holla if you hear us. Thank you. Good night.
I like a Mussolini.
You like it.
I'll take it.
Now get the hell out of here!